Hello, I'm Larry Formato. Welcome to Connected. As always, I got my sidekick, Mr. Willie Fats, over here pumping those guns there. And man, what are you so proud of with that?
Man, it's just a trademark, One day I will have guns, and when I do, you'll be proud of me.
And then we'll make him an American gangster too, folks.
This is true.
It's true, right?
Yeah. I'm going to be one.
You will be one.
Yes,
yeah.
yes, because when you pass away and then your sons, they're going to be saying, let's read about Mr. They're going to read about me. Then their sons are going to read about me. 100 years from now, I want to be read about.
Why did you have to throw in when I pass away, though?
Well, because you're the next generation to pass away, then it's my generation, then it's the...
You might pass away way before me, buddy. You keep that shit up. Let me tell you right now. That's going to stop.
Well, I mean, I'm what, 40? So I got
but you look like you're 70.
I got another 20 years left in my life.
All right. So listen, we are back today, and we are doing our fun facts about American gangsters. And on the agenda today is Angelo DeCarlo.
DeCarlo.
DeCarlo. And, DeCarlo, most people, when they hear his name, they either recognize it because they've seen Jersey Boys, the movie, or they've seen the Broadway play.
I did not see that movie until we started this show. And then I can't remember which episode it was, but you were saying to the camera that if you watch Jersey Boys. So I had to go home and watch it because I've seen the movie before, but I didn't know that guy that those boys get involved in, I didn't realize who he was when we were talking about it here in the office. I didn't put two and two together until after that show, and then I went home watching it and I said, oh, okay.
He's the guy. And
how accurate is that movie?
I don't know about how accurate it was, but I mean, he was definitely the boss.
Yeah.
He was a captain in the Genovese crime family. He lived in New Jersey, and those guys definitely were under his wing, for sure.
Right.
You could say they were associated with him.
Now, when you say captain, what do you mean captain? Do you mean like if I was to relate it to a job, would he be like a manager at a restaurant or something? When you say captain, I mean, I don't mean to use those terms, but...
Maybe one step over the manager.
Okay, I got you.
Right?
I got you.
Yeah, one step over the manager. He's the guy that collects all the money.
Right, so he's like high and mighty. He's one of the right-hand men of the big guy.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah.
So if you were captain, who would have been your right-hand man when you were involved in everything?
I wasn't a captain, buddy. But, I did have my own little crew.
Right. So you would have been the big man. So who would have been the little...
I had Big Paulie, who we've had on the show here.
Yep.
He
must go watch that show. Good episode.
He was very close with me. And then I had this other kid, Tommy Quinn, who was more or less my right-hand guy. And he traveled around with me quite a bit. So, but I want to talk about, I know. So, Fats is now my go-to
guy.
Yeah.
That's why I have the guns.
I'm going to go to you, all right.
So, all right.
So Chip DeCarlo was a tough guy. And he was a take no prisoner kind of guy. All his enemies, he did away with. All his competition in the wise guy world, in the 50s and the 60s, he did away with.
So he could actually shoot a gun and hit somebody.
Unlike Machine Gun Kelly.
Right, just making sure.
You don't want to be in front of the gun that
Chip
DeCarlo was pointing at you. And, he was said to be a kind killer. Interesting fact.
Wow.
Yeah,
so he'd be like, turn around.
He once said, you shoot the person in the heart. It's a kind way to kill them. They don't feel it.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
So he's not going to stab you 100 times and make you live a painful few minutes.
I don't, yeah.
It's quick and easy.
Yeah, but he got involved with this guy Saperstein, and Saperstein owed him a lot of money, ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
The story goes that Saperstein owed him like 400 grand.
Oh wow!
And at one point, Jip had a couple of his guys hang Saperstein out a window in New York.
Oh my goodness!
And threatened to drop him. And a couple of those guys, were people that I was very close with. Lenny was my partner. We had Chapter 11 together, my nightclub in New Jersey, along with, with Red. And, Red was Jip's go-to guy, so...
Now, was Jip higher than Red, or was...
Yes.
Okay.
So, here's the thing. Don't mind my shorts, folks. I mean, it's hot. I don't care.
It's Florida.
It's Florida. So anyway, Jip went on trial for this Saperstein guy that owed him 400 grand. So what happened was Saperstein was ratting him out.
Right.
Saperstein wrote a letter to the feds. The problem with that is, you ready? Saperstein died of rat poisoning the day the feds got the letter. What do you think of that, Willie?
There's a little foul play in that.
I mean, the guy had a stomach ache, went to the hospital, and died of rat poisoning.
Yeah, there was a little foul play there.
There was enough rat poisoning in his system to kill 20 people.
Oh wow. Yeah, foul play.
Yeah, so he was indicted and went on trial and convicted for extortion.
Oh wow.
And and attempted murder. And he was sentenced to 12 years in jail.
Huh.
Here's a really interesting thing. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Richard Nixon was president at the time.
Right.
So after Jip DeCarlo had served 18 months in jail, at Christmas time,
Right.
Richard Nixon, what do you think he did?
Well, we talked about it in the last show, so he pardoned him.
He did. He pardoned Jip DeCarlo, and man, it was a big deal. It was a big deal.
I bet it was.
The reason that he pardoned DeCarlo is the doctors and Jip DeCarlo appealed to him because he said he was dying of cancer. So Richard Nixon pardoned him. But the way the story really goes, and this is kind of neat, Frank Sinatra paid $150,000 to Richard Nixon's campaign for election for president. And that was spearheaded through Spiro Agnew, who was the vice president at the time. So it was kind of like the FBI did a big investigation on it and found absolutely no wrongdoing at all. You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
They found no wrongdoing in the pardon for Jip DeCarlo. So evidently, the way it was presented was done 100% correct. And, Jip DeCarlo's appeal to the president must have touched his heart in a kind way.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun. In a kind way.
Yeah, in a kind way.
And he was pardoned. And they looked at the transaction with Frank Sinatra, and they deemed that was completely above board as well.
Some ain't right in that whole picture.
Well, they couldn't find not one iota of evidence. None. So, I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Here's another interesting thing. When Jip DeCarlo died, he was supposed to pay a $20,000 fine for the deeds that he did bad that sent him to jail. Well, right when he died, that fine was due like 3 days later.
Right.
So he never paid the fine. But his wife, at the time, went to the court and told the judge, we don't have any money. We can't afford to pay this. Because they were going to put him back in jail.
Right.
They said, pay this by this time, or you're going to go back to jail. So his wife went and appealed to the courts and basically told the courts, hey, you know, can I just give you $2,000 right now? And the courts accepted the money, and that's what they did. At this time, back in 1973, the house that Chip DeCarlo lived in was in Mountainside, New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
It was a 2.5-story white colonial building on 4 acres. I can't even begin to think about how much that house would be worth today. But back then, it was assessed by the municipality at $110,000, and the house had a huge swimming pool, and it had a lake in the backyard.
Now, you lived in New Jersey, right?
I did.
Now, when you lived there in what, in the 80s and 90s, right?
I lived there from the 50s to the 80s, yeah.
Now, what was the price comparable to Florida then? Was New Jersey more expensive for housing there? So
Absolutely.
So if housing here is 100,000, then housing there would be what, 200,000-300,000?
400.
So that house probably would be $600,000 or $800,000 in today's society, probably.
I'm guessing more like on 4 acres of land, probably $3 million. Maybe.
You think so?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's my guess. I don't know, but you know, I'm sure.
Wow.
You know, it's a beautiful part of New Jersey,
Is it?
and with a swimming pool and a lake.
I've always wanted to go to New
4
Jersey.
acres. You know, I'm probably guessing somewhere around, you know, $3 million, and the taxes. Again, it's a guess, but I'm thinking the taxes on that piece of property like that could be $25,000 a year. Yeah. So anyway, so some people, you know, thought that Chip DeCarlo was ruthless, cold-blooded killer. You know, and I mentioned before that, you know, he thought that shooting somebody in the heart was they had his phones tapped from 1961 to 1963.
2 years.
2 years, and during that time he did a lot of talking, you know, had a lot of conversations with people, and one of those conversations he actually said that, you know, shooting somebody in the heart, you know, was kind of like a kind way of killing somebody, that it was painless.
That's crazy.
So, what's crazy is that they got that on tape, you know. And,
right.
Those tapes, you know, led to a lot of people, you know, getting indicted, or, you know, Mayor Adonisio was mentioned on these tapes. Frank Sinatra was mentioned in those tapes, and
man, Frank Sinatra's name comes up a lot with the
does.
mafia.
Yeah, and you know where else it comes up?
Where?
It comes up in my book, Connected, by Larry Formato, and buy that book
At www.whitecollarpress.com. Yep.
Where is it?
Whitecollarpress.com.
That's it. And what are you going to do? You're going to put that right across the board right there.
Right.
Follow my fingers. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Whitecollarpress.com. Buy Connected.
Yeah.
That's what we want you to do. It's a great book. You're going to love it.
You'll
And
get to read a lot
we do
about
talk
Frank.
about Frank Sinatra in that book, and we talk about Chip DeCarlo in that book.
Oh, yeah, he's in the book as well.
Chip DeCarlo is
Yep.
in that book, and it's a kind of a good story. And we're going to talk about that.
Now, did you ever get to meet him?
No. Never met him.
And he died in when?
1973.
1973.
He died in 1973.
So Red would have met him, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Red was his guy, you know. So, but you know what else about Chip DeCarlo?
What's that?
He was a great cook.
Go figure.
He was a great cook, and his specialty was fried pasta with anchovies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, you know, that's just another little Fun fact: fried pasta with anchovies. I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. I mean, like, I guess it's fried in olive oil is my guess.
I guess, but I'm not an anchovy fan, so I don't know.
Well, if you watch, we mentioned this, if you watch the movie Jersey Boys, or if you see the Broadway play, you know, they made a big deal about Jip DeCarlo in the movie and in the play, for the most part. He was a key figure in the play and movie. So, and one of the things that Jip DeCarlo did, Tommy DeVito owed a lot of money to the loan sharks.
Right.
And so Jip DeCarlo stepped in and made a deal on Tommy DeVito's behalf to get these loan sharks paid off. So he sent Tommy DeVito to Las Vegas,
Right.
where under the watchful eye of the wise guys out there, while the band paid off the debts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's a fact. You know, no getting around that. They paid these guys off, and it took a little while. And Tommy DeVito stayed out in Las Vegas, and so that's when Tommy DeVito left the Four Seasons.
Now, like I know, like when you were coming up, you were into the music business. Frank Sinatra was in there, and then I watched that movie, and I see that Jip DeCarlo kind of had his hands in it. So was that the thing back then with Mafia? They had their hands in the music business pretty regularly, or was it just certain people?
They had certain people. They had radio. They had, you know.
Yeah.
They got their hands. They got their hands everywhere.
Yeah, and as I'm learning through these shows, I'm learning that they had their hands in pretty much whatever they wanted that made money.
Yeah.
You know.
So as the story goes, if you read Connected by Larry Fermato, there's a fellow in that book who was my partner. His name was George the Greek Liberatus. And we've had George on this show.
Absolutely, another good show.
So I tried to coax the truth out of George on our last show that we did with him, but he wouldn't admit to it. But so here's what happened. George was gambling one night. George was a big gambler.
Yep.
So George had this guy that he would gamble with. The guy's name, a wise guy, an associate, was Porky. And Porky was under Jip. So George lost 90 grand to Porky.
Oh, wow.
So Porky went to Jip and said, "Hey, this guy the Greek owes us $90 freaking $1,000. So they put the arm on George and told George, you know, come up with the money. And so, you know, George, at the time, George was a degenerate gambler. I mean, you know, he could lose, you know, $100,000
and not lose sleep
fast
over
he
it.
made it, he could lose it. Yeah, he wouldn't lose sleep over it.
Oh, yeah.
So, this is what happened. George claimed that he went to Jip DeCarlo's house right before he died and gave Jip the money, paid Jip the $90,000. So, I think I've said this before. There's only two people in this world
That know
the truth. One is dead and one is alive. So, George is the one that's alive and Jip DeCarlo passed away. So the only one that could actually say
yes or no would be George.
Would be George. So Red came to me one day and said, "Listen, I want you to get close to this guy, Jip DeCarlo. To George the Greek. He owed a lot of money to our friend Jip, and we want to see if we can, you know, recuperate this money somehow. Go find out what you can find out from this guy and get close to him." He was fooling around with stocks, and maybe you guys can do, you know, a stock deal together or something. So, of course, I took up the task because Red asked me to do it. So what came out of that, Willie? What do you think?
I don't know. Like, you found out?
The biggest penny stock promotion deal ever. So, two things are happening now. Jip DeCarlo passed away.
Mm-hmm.
George DeCreek got away with it for the moment, but through me and through a stock deal,
Yep.
George was able to make more than enough money to where these guys got some money, and George was able to go on his merry way.
So George did pay some money. He just through the stock
He
deal.
didn't acknowledge that it was. It's right.
Right.
It was through the stock deal.
Right.
And
it wasn't actually George saying, "Okay, here's 90 grand." It was through the stock deal. So still today, that's never been settled. And like you said, only George. No, I know.
I asked on the show.
And he said, "You'll never
and
know."
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna edit part of that right now to this.
Absolutely. We
right
can
now.
do that. We get it. I mean, I think he'll take that to his grave. I'm sorry, but
he's taking it to the
Yeah.
grave. I asked him to admit it, and he wouldn't do it. So
Yeah,
and we're gonna prove it right now that he wouldn't admit it. We're gonna play it right now. All the years I've known you, and I think it's safe to ask you now because you never really gave a fuck about anybody. So but all the years I've known you, I never ever asked you. So now, for the first time after all these years, I'm gonna ask you directly: did you ever pay Jip DeCarlo?
You'll never know. You'll never know. He's up in the heavens.
So you're not, after all these years, you're not going to tell us?
No.
Oh, Lord. All right. So, all right, so now we have proof that George won't admit it.
and he ain't going to.
So this is what I want to tell everyone. The newspapers, the press back then, a lot of the papers portrayed Jip DeCarlo as some bad, notorious, crazy, gangster that was heartless and cold-hearted. But the truth of the matter is, he had a lot of friends, and a lot of people, would say just the opposite about him.
I'm pretty sure he had people that feared him. No.
Well, of course, he had people that feared him, but a lot of people would say that he was really a good guy. So that's another fact that I want to let everybody know about, because everything that I know leads me to believe that he was a good guy. So, and I knew a lot of the people that knew him. So, like I said, I didn't know him personally, but I have heard stories about him, and so I'm of the belief that the newspapers are full of shit.
Full of shit.
They're full of shit. You can't believe anything that's written in the newspapers.
Well, they're just looking for a story and to stir up drama. That's pretty much.
That's right. So George the Greek got off easy, and Jip DeCarlo got out of jail after serving 18 months, and passed away in October of 1973. And so that's our show about Jip DeCarlo today. And tomorrow, I think we're going to be doing Jimmy Hoffa. So
that'd be a cool show.
We're going to be doing Jimmy Hoffa, and what do we always tell everybody, Willie?
Listen, you don't want to miss that show because that's kind of a continuation of the show we just did. So you got to hit the like, subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on your notifications because, like I said, that show will be tomorrow, and you don't want to miss it. So if you want to video us and you want to get on this show, or you have a gangster that you want us to talk about, you can email us at
Blah, 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 blah. I hate when he does this to me. You're going to email us at connectedwithlarry@gmail.com.
Or you can call us at 941-244-2392.
He got it right.
I never get it wrong.
Hey, the email one more time, connectedwithlarry@gmail.com. Hit those, whatever they are.
Subscribe,
Like,
and
subscribe.
notification, and keep writing comments underneath. We'd like to hear your comments about the show. If you even got a comment on how to go about the show, hey, we'll listen to it.
Yeah, we will. And so, try to do these videos if you can, and send them to us. Send them
Absolutely.
to connectedwithlarry@gmail.com.
Absolutely.
And,
We'd love to do a show once a week, getting just them on.
Yeah,
questions.
that would be fun.
That'd be
we
cool.
can do that. We'll get you on.
Yeah.
And we'll have some fun with it.
Absolutely.
And always remember, stay right here if you Want to be?